Now, listen, you guys. It seems like the pink lady is out there causing chaos and commotion on the internet. We're going to talk about the recent interaction between her and, of course, the vice president, as well as how Advovo BBO ended up catching strays from the White House. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be discussing about Misa and TDE. When it comes to Caesar, Nicki is determined to troll that girl, I don't know, up to the end of times. We're going to talk about that as well. Meanwhile, Brother Billy seems to be on 50 Cent's case, and allegedly the new pawn in the game is none other than 50 Cent's major, massive nemesis, Ja Rule. We're going to discuss about that. Hello, tea lovers, and welcome to the Tea Plug. I trust you guys are doing well, and I trust you are doing great. Personally, I am doing great, you guys. I am doing extremely amazing. And without further ado, let us dive straight into today's tea. So, first of all, let us talk about Onika. At this point, this girl just does whatever she feels like doing. I do feel like when somebody is pushed to a place where no matter what she does, everybody always finds a way to turn it into something negative. She just stops giving an F, and I feel like this is the state that Nicki Minaj is. Okay, the internet there, over Twitter there, they have got their panties in a bunch because of an exchange between Nicki Minaj and, of course, the vice president. Because you guys do know that, well, a lot of people really, especially in the black community, do not relate to that, administration. So they really do feel offended. They feel like Nicki Minaj is doing way too much when it comes to that administration. How dare she interacts with them and all of these things. And as usual, they have all these things to say about Nicki Minaj because of her Twitter interactions with these people and because she spoke at the UN and agreed with things that President Trump was saying about what's going on in Nigeria. It is also important to note that, well, when it comes to actually interacting with President Trump, in the hip hop space, it doesn't seem like Nicki is the key person who is such, that political party supporter. Because, I mean, we have a lot of male rappers who have publicly spoken, in support of this man. Some have performed on his rallies. Some have gotten pardons from, this man, including the so-called savior fraudulent nation. Okay, I mean, the CEO of that entire empire literally got a pardon from the same man, and the same CEO is still brother billionaire's right hand woman. And not to mention the recent dinner where the catters were freely clearly having a good time and having dinner with that same administration's leaders. So I mean, it seems like it's kind of interesting when it comes to the backlash. There are certain people that are expected to be judged for doing certain things, but there are certain people that no matter what they do, they could literally be out there spray tanning Donald Trump, and you guys wouldn't have an issue with that. And so for me, this is where everything just, doesn't make any sense, because are we really woke, or are we woke when it's people that we don't like, or when it's people that we feel like they don't have any protection whatsoever? We can just, throw jabs at them. They are our punching bag. Like, make it make sense. But anyway, so a lot of people are also coming through with different think pieces about why Nicki Minaj is moving the way that she's moving now. The first group feels like, well, Nicki is just trolling, okay? She realized how people intentionally decided to misinterpret or like spread misinformation about what she went to the UN for. And so now at this point, she's just embracing being the bad guy and she's trolling left, right, and center. And I personally am tempted to believe that. I'm tempted to believe that she's just fed up, okay? That's one notion that I am able to subscribe to. Another notion that people are coming with is that, well, you guys remember when Nicki was continuously getting swatted and she reached out to the governor, who happens to be a Democrat, and the governor paid her dust. And so people feel like if nobody made such commotion about the continuous V word that was happening in as far as her household is concerned, if you guys were not rallying behind her, tagging the governor also, or trying to say please assist her, seeing that she's such a high profile figure, I mean, if you guys were not also rallying behind her to hold these people, in power, in control of what she was asking for, protection, just fairness, if you were not amplifying what happened to her, and if these people decided to not take any action because of alleged affiliation with people that might be behind whatever that was going on with Nicki Minaj, then why should she not go out of her way to try and find protection where she feels like she can be heard? Okay, that's another school of thought. Now, personally, I don't know. I don't subscribe to that one. The other notion that people are coming up with is that Nicki is playing chess. Nicki knows something that is brewing behind the scenes, because people are speculating that Brother Billy behind the scenes, allegedly there might be financial issues going on, the casino and everything, that entire dinner that they had with the Trumps, they were trying to negotiate to find some baking and stuff like that in as far as their business ventures. So Some people are saying that Nicki must know that, well, in the near future, Brother Billy is going to come out publicly trying to be affiliated with the administration that is currently in power for his own benefit. Seeing that whenever money is involved, it seems like Brother Billy doesn't care about principles whatsoever, if we're going to be honest. If that administration comes through with a business opportunity or anything related to that, Brother Billy will happily take that. So, I mean, these people feel like Nicki Minaj is going beforehand to associate with this administration so that you people can bash her the way that you're bashing. You remember what she did when she was going back and forth with Advovo BBL, and she was using her same insults back at her and she didn't like it. And clearly everybody started seeing the hypocrisy that the moment Nicki Minaj went below the belt the way that Advovo BBL does all the time, and it seems like when Advovo BBL does it, nobody holds her accountable. Like the hypocrisy during that week was very clear because every word that Nicki was uttering to that woman is used against black women. But for some reason, Nicki was being held to such, this standard. Oh, you cannot say things like that. But when it's being done by other people, there is no such backlash. Literally holding the mirror to, Advovo BBO. So people feel like this is the same strategy that she's doing. When Brother Billy comes out being affiliated with this administration, we want to see what the reaction is going to be from the people. She wants to show you that when I was doing it, you guys were demonizing me, calling me all sorts of names, even though I went to the UN and I spoke pertaining something that's going on in Africa. But because my opinion was in agreement with what the president was saying, you guys decided to twist it into something that it is not. I mean, I've seen even the likes of Tammy Rivera, okay, thinking that for some reason she's out there speaking, she's the voice of the people all of a sudden, and she's weighing in on things that I'm just looking at her and I'm like, Tammy. Okay, I don't want to say anything about her IQ, but I'm just looking at her. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. The type of people that are brought in to weigh in when something pertains to Nicki Minaj, I'm just looking at people and I'm like, it's never a neutral person. It's always someone who feels salty about Nicki Minaj by association or by something related to that. Because with Tammy, obviously, it's the Waka situation, Miss Deb's situation, and Miss Deb is still riding with Nicki. And obviously, there is some backstory to that entire situation. You get it. But anyway, that being said, people feel like Nicki is intentionally doing that so that when Brother Billionaire publicly comes out affiliating himself with the administration in question, and you guys don't hold her accountable, then Nikki will be like, you see, the hypocrisy that we're talking about? That's exactly why she's doing that. Now, I'm also tempted to kind of believe this one as well. So far, it's either in my mind, okay, in my own opinion, I do feel like the brother billionaire situation could be why she's behaving like this, or she's probably just trolling. But anyway, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this entire situation. Now, back to what actually transpired. Nicki Minaj decided to tweet the vice president and said like something like Vance is bigger than Rance, okay? To which the vice president responded and said Nicki Minaj is bigger than Advovo BBL, and of course the internet went insane. The thought of an entire vice president of the United States of America shading Advovo BBL on behalf of Nicki Minaj. Now, it was just chaotic. So let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about that. It seems like, after Nikki saw that Advovo was being brought onto her timeline, she decided to delete that tweet. And I personally feel like it's a smart move from her because right now Advovo is quite desperate to sell a tour. And you guys know that if she doesn't have any mandate of, going back and forth with Nicki Minaj, if she hasn't been sent to fight with Nicki Minaj on the internet, nobody cares for her like that. But beefing with Nicki on the internet again is sort of like an incentive for her to get some special favors. So Nicki was like, not in this season, mama. You're gonna sell out only 3 of your shows by yourself. I'm not gonna be involved. And I commend her for that, okay? Because clearly, right now, she's been trolling politically. She's not been checking Shramshays, nah, she hasn't been doing that. She's been minding her business. So she deleted that. But as usual, of course, Advovo BBO ran. The moment she saw that her name had been tied to Nicki Minaj, she came and said, I'm so famous. She gets happy. She gets excited each time she's brought up in the same conversation with Nicki Minaj. She acts like she doesn't like it, but she loves it. She loves it because you know what? She knows that realistically speaking, she's not in the same caliber with this woman, okay? Not beauty-wise, not even IQ-wise, not even talent wise, not even likability wise. If people don't get incentivized for liking this woman, I promise you nobody cares, okay? So of course she jumped and she was like, oh, I'm so famous. And I'm like, no, actually the word that you're looking for is I'm so infamous, okay? Because nothing about that tweet said famous. It said infamous clearly. But let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this interaction with these people. Meanwhile, TDE's, Punch and Caesar are crashing out on the White House because of using Caesar's song. And, Caesar is not having it. She's back in her advocate bag and she's calling them out. She doesn't appreciate the usage of her song and all of these things. And personally, I'm like, if she doesn't want a song to be used, that's her right. However, people were kind of noticing that, well, before Sabrina spoke up, Caesar was quiet. The moment Sabrina spoke out, that's when she got the guts to finally say something, which people were like, okay, Caesar, why is it like you seem like you don't have any guts? You only start getting bold when somebody else says something. The same thing that she did when, when Punch and Nikki were kind of going back and forth. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about that. And this is what Nikki had to say. I think I saw a tweet from Nicki Minaj about Caesar, and I'm just like, Caesar, what did you do? Because Nikki will troll you every single day and not be bothered at the end of the day. This is what Nikki said. Anyway, this was, I'm sorry, in response to the White House's response to Caesar's, Caesar's tweet. They said, "Thank you, Caesar, for drawing even more attention to the tremendous work America's ICE officers are doing by arresting dangerous criminal, illegal aliens in American communities." So at this point, it seems like they're just trolling Caesar, which is something that I don't, I personally, I'm just like, that's not cool. She doesn't want to be associated with your movement, and it's her right to do that. And Nikki responded and said, "The White House said, don't draw another one, not one more." Now she's talking about her freckles. And I'm just like, Nikki, please stop. This is a serious conversation. And I know probably Caesar was in a field, it was in a fuse with this entire thing. And in you come talking about freckles. She later deleted that, but I'm just like, okay. When it comes to Nikki trolling Caesar, I mean, she inserted herself before in things that didn't concern her. So, I mean, if Nikki wants to troll her for the next 20 years, so be it. Imagine Nikki is fighting the misogyny that happens in the music industry, and you as a woman feel like you can be used as a mouthpiece to speak up for these men, when women try to fight against this oppression. You inserted yourself in that, Caesar, so take it. Anyway, moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about 50 Cent, okay? It seems like 50 is catching some heat from friends of the Diddler. Allegedly, the Diddler's brother, brother billionaire. I'm talking about the title Swindler. Allegedly, he's not happy with the documentary, co-directed by, by 50 Cent. They are not feeling it, and allegedly, they are now on his back. Because in one of his posts, 50 kind of acknowledged a comment that was suggesting that, well, there might be a brother billionaire documentary coming, or that, well, he would be interested in working on a documentary about brother billionaire. Now, one thing about brother Billy is he does not like that, and as soon as you say something that threatens him, the next thing that he does is he runs to the media, and he will literally start discrediting you. Old articles about you will start to resurface, and he plays these media tactics. That's his first line of approach when he wants to come at someone. And so people started saying interesting things coming out about 50 Cent, and people are like, okay, where is that coming from all of a sudden? And then people put two and two together and realized that, well, this might be the issue, that he did acknowledge that he would be willing to work on a documentary about brother Billy. And as if that's not enough, Ja Rule emerged. I mean, I do know that he has his long-term issues with 50 Cent, but well, he came out and he was speaking up, saying that, well, 50 Cent participating in the documentary has got nothing to do with the victims. He's just trying to get back at his nemesis, the Diddler. So that's basically what Ja Rule was saying. Now, I will say that to say that 50 had absolutely no motive in being involved in this documentary, I don't want to be hypocritical. Obviously, there are some scores that were being settled through him working on that documentary. That's number one, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say that this man is solely doing this because of the victims. I mean, we know 50, he's petty. But at the same time, do I think that, well, he made sense in his interview when he said that if none of the people in hip hop were to be involved in this documentary or in calling this man out, it would send a message to the world that the hip hop community is actually okay with what the Diddler was saying. To me, that made sense for him to say that, okay, if we all keep quiet as a collective, it seems like we're all co signing the behavior that this man was showing. And so I do feel like for him it was a sort of an issue of getting it, two birds with one stone. Okay, I feel like there was literally a parrot and an owl somewhere, and he was like, let me just use this one sling to get both birds. But anyway, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this. Do you agree with Ja Rule with this or not? But that being said, internet investigators also ended up noticing that Ja Rule and 50 Cent's baby mama were out there following each other. And so people were like, okay, it seems like something is brewing. But then there are also allegations that with everything that is going on, it seems like Fraudulent Nation might be the one giving Ja Rule the guts to do everything that he's doing, and that, well, somebody must have put a battery in Ja Rule's back. Yeah. That's what people are saying. They're saying that Ja Rule is being used as a mouthpiece for Brother Billionaire. And I would say that I hope for his sake that's not the situation. I hope for his sake, whatever back and forth or whatever messy business that he's getting into in as far as 50 Cent is concerned is solely because of his issues with 50 Cent. Because acting as a mouthpiece for Brother Billy is not a smart idea in 2025. And if really it is Brother Billionaire that is powering the battery in his back, then that man has got no friends. Literally, he has no loyalty to anyone because sending Jaru to come for 50 when it pertains to the Diddler documentary is not a good look on Jaru because now, even though he might be speaking sense, it seems like he's advocating for the Diddler. And any man who puts you or who encourages you to go and antagonize someone who's willing, to speak out on an issue as sensitive as the Diddler's issue, that person doesn't have your good interest at heart. And Jaru should know this. If there's anybody in that community, if it is indeed Brother Billy that is encouraging him to do this, then Brother Billy really is loyal to nobody because anybody with good counsel would warn him that, listen, I get that you have issues with this man, but let this documentary issue slowly down, and then after that you can come in with what you have to say because now you're looking like a Diddler supporter. But I guess in true the title swindler style, he has to send someone so that when it backfires on Jaru, he will act like he doesn't know what's going on with his three dreads. But anyway, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about that. I did see academics talking about the same thing as well. Basically warning 50 that it seems like the Tidal Swindler's PR machine is out to get him. And yeah, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this entire chaos. Let me know about everything in the comment section. I've missed you guys so much. I cannot wait to go back to normal programming. But then again, life sometimes happens, and it has been happening. Life really has been lifing. But I miss you so much. Until my next one, see you.